California. It's the Multiverse Comic Show with your host, Jason Cervantes. But more importantly, we have Pete Malini, the owner, the proprietor of Nostalgic Books and Comics, where we broadcast to you from every Wednesday night. Well, it's always around 8-ish, because, sometimes I got in a little late because I was a little bit busy with some other nonsense. But here we are. We're here for you tonight to talk about brand new comic books.
Wednesday.
So, Pete, it's Wednesday night. It's Wednesday. Wednesday week comics. There was no holiday this week.
No holiday.
Which annoyed us last week.
It was a little rough last week. A little rough.
But, all right, let's just get to it.
Yeah.
What do we got this week, Pete?
What do we got this week? So this week we have Spiderman.
Spider-Man.
This is the sequel to the 2012 series.
Was that 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Jeez. I know I was still buying comics then. Well, buying comics every single week like a normal comic book nerd.
But Spider-Man was originally about the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man, Miles Morales, met the 616 Universe Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
The Peter Parker we know and love.
Yeah. Peter Parker ended up in that universe for an adventure, and they teamed up and everything. It was really cool. It was a really fun book. The sequel was supposed to be Miles in the 616 universe.
Right.
But then we had Secret Wars. And Secret Wars kind of like folded Miles and his family into the regular universe.
Into our universe, because they literally erased the Ultimate Universe during the Secret War.
Wars.
Sorry.
Yeah. And the big thing about the first Spider-Man was, at the end, Peter Googled Miles Morales in the 616 universe, and he was shocked at what he found. And so we were always supposed to that's what this book was supposed to be like, explaining who the other Miles is.
Whether there is a 616 Miles Morales, so that our normal Marvel universe has a Miles Morales as well.
Right, yeah. So it's an interesting book. It's Peter and Miles teaming up again. It's really interesting because they actually acknowledge Secret Wars.
Oh, really?
Up to this point, no one has really acknowledged it. It's just kind of it's something that happened. Very few people remember it in that universe. And the universe got rebooted. So, but they actually.
I guess that's the cachet that the writer Brian Michael Bendis, one of my favorites, has, where he can do whatever he wants in the comic book.
Yeah. And so it's a fun book. We're supposed to find out who the new Miles is. Sarah Pacelli's back on it, so
Pacelli.
It's a great looking book.
Yeah, no, I was flipping through it earlier during the pre-show when we were getting ready, and I was like, because I remember reading that initial series from 2012, and it was really awesome. I never actually tracked down the last issue of that. I have to find that one of these days. But I remember it was a really great book, because I've always been kind of I've always been into the Ultimate Spider-Man and Miles Morales, even going back to when it was the Ultimate Peter Parker. Again, that was kind of the foundation, or I feel that was the inspiration for Spiderman Homecoming, which came out last week. That was like the Ultimate Spider-Man. So now we have this new Spidey, this Miles Morales, who's now part of the regular universe, and now we have this sequel that you said has been 5 years in the making.
Yeah, and it's really cool that he's in the regular universe, because Dan Slott's been writing Spider-Man forever, and he's kind of evolved Spider-Man, where he's the international international hero. He's one of the businessmen now. He kind of turned him into Tony Stark. Yeah,
that's right. That is something I've noticed in the recent books, that he does feel more Tony-ish.
And the cool thing about Miles is that he is in high school. So he's taking that spot of he's missing out of class, he's struggling between that. So, the having a regular life and being Spider-Man. And so it's a really cool,
he's taking the role of young Peter Parker, so to speak.
And so it's, unfortunately, I guess maybe they were saying it for this, but they don't do a lot of Peter and Miles, mentoring things. You figure he would, right?
Right, so now that Miles' character has been folded into the regular Marvel universe, you would assume they'd team up a lot, but I guess they were waiting for this.
Yeah. So I would love a monthly book of this, where it's just Peter's teaching them how to be Spider-Man.
Kind of like sort of the Super Sons in DC that you really love. It'd be really great to have a Spider-Man book where it's Peter and Miles. I agree. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. And another thing, Bendis is on a roll this week.
The guy's a writing machine. Defenders #3, which I will be buying after the show, because I'm totally into this book.
Defenders is a lot of fun, man. Defenders, we talked about this before. It's very remnant of New Avengers.
Of New Avengers, the run that he did before, yes.
Yeah. And so just keeping to the theme of Netflix, the Punisher shows up.
You got the Punisher right here, all up in the business here.
Yeah. And so, the whole thing is, they're trying to stop the rise of a new Kingpin.
Okay.
And so, and the Punisher's getting involved because
He loves to kill bad dudes.
Yeah.
But doesn't that make him a bad dude?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on your morality.
Exactly. And so it's been a really good book, which is really cool because Bendis is also writing the regular Miles book.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles has been dealing with the Black Cat and how she's rising to power, and they're dealing with that in this book.
Also, wait, so you're telling me Black Cat is trying to lobby and become the new Kingpin, so to speak?
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big step up from being a cat burglar.
Yeah. They did a big thing which started back during Superior Spider-Man.
Okay.
Doc Ock was,
Oh, yeah, I remember reading the early issues of that. That was interesting.
Yeah, they did this really. They did a total 360 where they teased an issue where on the cover it was Doc Ock, Spider-Man, and Black Cat, and they looked like they were about to kiss. In the actual issue, Doc Ock's swinging by and he's seeing her break into somewhere, and then she sees him. She's like, "Oh, it's just Spider-Man, big deal." And he webs her up and he punches in the face and leaves her for the cops.
See, for those of you who don't know, there was a weird story a couple of years ago where it literally they switched
His brains.
They saved Doc Ock's brain instead of saving Hitler's brain.
Yeah.
Dr. Octopus switched brains with Peter Parker, and because Dr. Octopus was dying, like some sort of super cancer, some sort of super powered cancer, and so Doc Ock realized that the only way he could save himself is he tricked Spider-Man and switched brains with him. He literally overwrote Peter's brain, and Peter's brain went into Doc Ock's dying body.
Yeah.
And Doc Ock was Spider-Man for
a year and a half, maybe?
like for a good while.
Yeah.
He was the superior Spider-Man, where he adopted a lot of he unfortunately had a lot of heroic tendencies in the back of his head.
Yeah.
He felt, oh fine, I'll be the better Spider-Man than him, but he was still Doc Ock. He used his superior science.
But he was still kind of an asshole.
He was a dick. I remember he got kicked out of the Avengers.
Yeah.
He was killing dudes.
Yeah.
He was a dick. He took over that Horizon Labs.
Yeah.
He was a giant asshole.
Yeah, big time.
Until unfortunately or unfortunately, Peter still dwelled in his brain.
Yeah.
And took back control. And then Doc Ock, of course, being a scientist, had a continuous plan, got himself out of Peter's brain and into a brand new clone. It was a clone of Peter, I believe.
Yeah. Well, it's like a weird Doc Ock Spider-Man hybrid.
Yeah. So now there's a superior octopus.
That's what we're talking about next.
See, look at it. This guy's you got the segues down. We have Amazing Spider-Man here.
There's Spider-Man number 30.
Number 30, and it looks like the superior octopus.
Superior octopus.
Right? He kind of looks like Spider-Man, but with the Doc Ock arms.
So
and an octopus on his chest.
So, what's happening here is Doc Ock's back. This finally ties into Secret Empire.
Okay.
And so Doc Ock is part of the Hydra Avengers.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And he's trying to recapture, he's trying to take over Parker Industries, Peter Parker's company.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this is the first time he's actually faced them. And this is a Doc Ock with Spider-Man powers.
Huh.
So he's pretty deadly.
Oh yeah, I see right here. I see the Hydra Avengers in here. You got Thor, you got Vision, you got Scarlet Witch, you got Deadpool. I'm assuming that's Ant-Man and Taskmaster and Superior Octopus.
Superior Octopus.
Crazy pants on head crazy.
Yeah.
You're saying this is one of the better books out there. There's the regular Spider-Man book, Dan Slott. I've always liked Dan Slott's work personally. He's a fun writer.
It's a big. We finally get to see where Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's not playing a big part in Secret Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're seeing why and where he is and what's happening to him, and what he's actually dealing with.
Oh wow! It looks like he. I don't want to spoil this for people. Well, there's big things happen in this book. This is why Spider-Man's been on sideline, because I just noticed a few major revelations here. I will keep from spoiling for those of you who might come down here, because we do have a few customers who watch this video and come down and buy stuff from this guy. And we encourage that. Always support Mr. Malini and small business. Support small business.
There you go.
So, Amazing Spider-Man 30, come out. Come check it out. What else do we have on the table?
So now we got the big book.
I noticed metal. There's all this metal. Or the casting.
The casting.
This is the prelude. This is just different covers.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they put 3 of them at once. Oh, we have a metallic cover.
So you got Jim Lee doing a cover.
Oh, Jim Lee. Look at that. Classic Jim Lee. Oh, my gosh.
And then we got
John Romita Jr. John Romita Jr. drawing. And whom is it?
Andy Kubert.
Andy Kubert. Look at that.
So
all this is the same book. It's the casting, so
yeah.
tied to the metal.
Yeah, so this is the next part after the Forge.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues this crazy event, which I read through this. I have no idea what metal's about. Like,
so you're saying this is a little confusing. Scott Snyder has been writing some crazy stuff here.
There's a lot going on. There's three major stories going on,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially what we can talk about from the first issue
Mm-hmm.
is there's a metal in the center of the earth that's affecting things. It affected the Court of Owls.
Mm-hmm.
It's tying into the immortals. So like Ra's al Ghul knows about it, and like
Interesting. I see some Jim Lee stuff. Jim Lee drew some interiors.
Yeah.
What?
And that's the cool thing about this book is that there's three stories going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they broke it up where it's like Andy Kuber's doing one story.
But it looks like it's a bit of a jam book because they've gone back and forth.
Yeah,
where, like,
yeah.
it goes from Jim Lee art to John Romita art to Andy Kubert art. It's fluctuating back and forth. I'm getting high. It's as if I'm reading a book by our friend Paul Grimshaw, one of those jam books.
Jam books.
You know, a bunch of artists to go do the same thing.
But so all we know is that it ties into something called the Dark Multiverse.
The Dark Multiverse.
Yeah.
Go on.
And that's all we know.
Oh, that's all we know.
That's all we know. This is the
It's the negative 52.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the book that is going to lead into Dark Knight Metal, which is the big book. Like DC is saying this is the event they're looking forward to, and we're actually going to have a midnight release event.
Midnight release event here at Nostalgic Books and Comics. If you really want this Dark Knight Metal, the metal,
you get it a couple hours earlier than everyone else.
You get a few hours early.
And
so is it going to literally be midnight, or is it? Well, it's not a rolling where like you can do it at 9 because the stores in the East Coast get midnight.
I wish it was that simple, man.
Oh man, because I know in the video game industry they've gone to that. Where I remember before when I worked at GameStop, those of you who watched my show, take a drink. When I worked at GameStop before, I used to wait till midnight. But then the last time I worked for GameStop this past fall, as soon as 9 o'clock hit, as soon as the East Coast stores were getting it, it was allowed for the rest of the country to do a rolling release. It was a rolling release, so to speak.
Gotcha. No, I think it's midnight. I think
you have to adhere to midnight.
Yeah,
that is awful.
Yeah, it's a rough one. But we will be here. I'll be here. We're starting at 10. We're probably gonna have a sale and stuff. We have all the information up on the Nostalgic Facebook page.
Yeah, because wasn't it like 5 years ago we were all here for Justice League #1, the first issue of the New 52. Like what, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Oh my gosh!
And last year was Rebirth.
That's right. I did come down here for Rebirth as well. Oh my god! The DC likes doing these midnight events.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like the midnight events are always for something kind of big. So I mean, I think the fact that they're doing a midnight release for this kind of shows that metal is going to be.
It's going to be something important, something that you want to get your hands on it as soon as you can.
Yeah. So we'll be having that midnight release. We'll have the issue. I think there's multiple covers. I think there's actually a midnight release variant.
Of course there is.
Yeah. So
it wouldn't be a comic book event without a special variant.
Yeah. So we'll have those, and it's I don't know how many we're gonna get. So it's first come first serve.
Hey, yeah. If you're a person who loves variants, then you better be here right at 10. That way you can be quote unquote in line or whatever. However the system you'll work out here.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out as people show up. Yeah, if you want those variants, you gotta be here for the midnight release. See the man. See Pete Molini. Yeah. Get your books. Gotta get your drugs. This is your drug dealer.
That's right.
So, do you have anything else on the docket here? I see you have another book right here.
So we're going to talk about The Flash.
The Flash, one of my favorite characters.
This is a great issue, man. Like they're keeping up. We're retelling the origin of Yomar Thawne.
Oh, really?
And
the Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash, and they kept it pretty straightforward. It's still, he still had the same origin. They added some stuff, and they even explain why he has the yellow costume now. It's really interesting stuff. And
interesting.
And in typical Flash, he's got the bad luck. It's just like it's not working out for him.
And this is Barry. This is Barry Flash. Okay.
Yeah. And so it's pretty cool. We get a different layer into the Reverse Flash.
The negative Speed Force. We have negative multiverse. Now we have a negative Speed Force.
Negative everything, man. Negative everything.
Everything is negative. Even the negative metal. So
Flash, the Flash has been a pretty solid book all the way through since Rebirth, and it's cool. Like if you like the show, it's the book for you.
Right. Okay. So they really feel like they're trying to introduce a lot of elements that people would be comfortable from the show.
Yeah.
Into the book, where someone watches could come by here, buy the book, and they wouldn't feel very lost because you have Barry, you have Iris, you have Reverse Flash, you have some of the a lot of those elements that people are familiar with from watching the TV show.
Yeah. So it's very they didn't change. They didn't go too far off the the center there.
Well, that's cool. That is cool to hear. Interesting. As a Flash fan, I haven't been actually reading the book for lack of money, but stuff is going on. Wow, that's a very interesting image right there at the end. Oh boy. Yeah, if you want to see what that image is, you come down to the store, pick up the book. So I wanted to. So this whole metal thing it seems pretty intense. It's pretty insane because they got this, and they're also doing that Doomsday thing.
Yeah, that's in November.
Wow, that's just like, there's so many things. I mean, really, DC is really putting a beat down on Marvel right now, which is very shocking to me.
Well, yeah, because it's even like I don't know if we talked about it last week, but Marvel's doing the Legacy.
Right. No, I saw that. I noticed that in one of the books that we had over here. I noticed the little fold out here where they're doing the whole the Generations.
Generations. Yeah.
These little Legacy books where you have the Unworthy Thor and the Mighty Thor, Phoenix and Jean Grey. Whoa, hold the phone of Phoenix? Like, original Jean Grey, current continuity, what in the fuck? Fuck?
I have no idea, man.
That's a lot of fucks.
They've just been teasing this stuff and like without...
Because I know we've had a Jean Grey that came from the past, that came here in the all-new X-Men that been, again, we keep dropping his name because he writes a lot of shit. Right like Bendis. And wow, and then we got the Banner Hulk and totally awesome. Banner Hulk, who was dead during Civil War II, much like the normal comic character, does not stay dead. And Wolverine and all was another character who is quote unquote dead, not dead anymore. Hawkeye. Slightly sad that it's not Matt Fraction writing that. I guess he's done the superhero books, right?
Yeah, that's what he says. We'll see.
We'll see when he needs the money.
But
so his Generations, his Legacy books.
It feels like they're trying to do their rebirth. It feels like let's bring back characters people like, and then but the crazy thing is that after Legacy's done, all the Marvel books are going back to original numbering.
Yes, we discussed that last week. The original numbering, that's very awkward.
So it's I don't know. I mean, like they're saying it's not a reboot and it's not, but
this totally screams reboot. Yeah. This is clearly a reaction to the fact that DC's been beating their ass for a year now. So it's been a year since Rebirth, and DC has been just beating them, at least as far as the comic books go. In the comic book industry, obviously, the movies is a different story. But as far as the actual comic books go, I am shocked because I know like 5 years ago, like we were discussing this whole New 52. It's like okay, it was kind of flash in the pan. After the first 6 months, everything sold really well. Then everything went back to normal.
Yeah,
for DC. I guess sales wise.
Yeah, I think it dropped, but I feel like they were doing better than they did before New 52.
Before the New 52.
And so, and I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know if that was a reaction to that's why Rebirth happened, or it was just like, oh, we're getting to issue 52. Let's do something. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. No, good. For me personally, I feel like prior to the New 52, I felt like the DC creative was good. Yeah. I mean, because honestly, I was buying way more DC books at that point in time than I was Marvel books. Yeah. Because we do Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, which I always say that was the only one of the few books that remained unchanged due to the New 52 back when that reset happened, and then we have this new kind of unreset with the Rebirth. And I mean, I just feel like
unraveling of Ravels, or
Rebirth was more like, I feel like when New 52 happened, there was a lot of rules, there was a lot of regulations, and I think Rebirth was like, let's get rid of all that, because remember there was that whole thing that they couldn't get married. But then they bring original Superman, who's married to Lois.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, so like superheroes cannot get with that. That was one of the rules. Yeah. Oh, really?
That was that. I don't know if you remember that whole controversy.
No, I was not aware of this. I guess I was out of the loop.
There was this big controversy because Batwoman, the creators of Batwoman, they wanted her to get married to her longtime girlfriend at the time, and DC was like, no, like our characters don't get married. Like, there was this whole thing that like, if characters are married, they're not interesting. or yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And so there was a big backlash because people thought, oh, DC's against gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that at all.
It was DC's ignorant and stupid.
Yeah, DC's just like, we don't want any of our characters to be married. And
we're against marriage, period.
Yeah. And so I kind of feel like that.
Superman's more interesting when he's single.
Yeah.
He's sleeping around with Wonder Woman and Lois Lane and whomever else he was sleeping around during the New 52.
So, like, yeah, I kind of feel like that was, they kind of leaned off of that and with Rebirth. And a lot of characters that were off limits are back. You know, like, we talked about this a while ago. Wally West was.
Wally West, he was always the reset button, so to speak. He is the character we can bring everything back to normal.
Yeah.
Because Barry broke the universe, so Wally can
fix it.
Can fix it, so to speak.
See, because we always talked about that, but I don't think they would ever like be like, oh, we're going back to, you know,
pre-New 52.
I mean, as of right now, I feel like it's so established now. It's like, you know, I mean, would you even, okay, in your opinion, do you think you would get those readers that were upset about the reboot? Would you get them back if you would?
No.
You know?
Honestly and truly, as a person who worked at the comic shop for 10, 12 years, no. Once you kind of burn them, they're gone.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like you would just end up losing the new people. You know, people are like, why is it different now? Like, you know.
So like as you're saying, like this rebirth is, you know, a loosening of the rules. You know, Superman is married with a kid now.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of other things. You know, there's more relationships happening. I guess in a lot of these other books, like, especially in the Titans and the Teen Titans, and also they're relaxed. They're bringing back characters who were gone or dead. Yeah. Like Ted Kord is alive somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's in the Blue Beetle book. But so I feel like that's what Marvel's trying to do with his the Generations thing. And
they saw this worked with DC, so hey, maybe we should stop being a bunch of hard asses.
But see, I don't know how well it's gonna work though, because I just read an interview because I think I told you about this. They're doing a Spirits of Vengeance book.
Right, I believe you did mention that to me before.
And I was like, partially I'm kind of excited about that. I'm like,
that's classic '90s right there. God, that was a whole brand for. That's when I first started working at the original comic Galaxy. When you had all those books, you had Blaze, you had Ghost Rider, you had Blade, and you had the actual like Sons of Vengeance and Spirits of Vengeance, and all those books.
And I read an interview with a writer who I've never heard of this guy before. I've heard his name. But he was like, oh, it's going to be very much like that 90s book. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool, but I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, you know, like...
Hey, man, everything... It was this big thing, trying to bring back everything from the 90s. You know, let's reboot everything. Yeah. Like, you can go find Zima somewhere. Yeah. You can drink Zima, which... Who would want that? I don't know. I think I drink it on a joke, on a lark. For the fun, for the funnies, for the fun of it. I don't know, but it seems like a very interesting decision by Marvel to attempt. It seems like they're attempting the same thing. Where we're gonna bring back the characters that we killed. That editorially, we decided, we need to remove these characters for the sake of plot. And now, let's bring them back for the. I think for the sake of sales. I think it's more like, this is a sales maneuver. I don't know what's going on over at the Burbank offices of Marvel. Yeah. We'll see how this goes for them. Yeah, I mean, it's risky, but you know. But you know where they really benefited in a reboot? Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah. I know we talked about this on Monday, but I feel like there's not a lot of crossover viewership. I feel like there's probably people who watch this who do not watch our Monday show. But yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, Pete and I, Joanna, our friend Cruz, Kim, all the five of us, we went to go watch it last Thursday night, and it was amazing. It was spectacular. I was stuck in a web. I'm trying. What were the other terrible puns for Spider-Man back in the day?
I think that was it, right?
Amazing, spectacular, web. Those were the 4 Spider books back in the day. This was the superior Spider-Man movie in comparison to all the others.
See, that's the thing, man. Like, I was a little worried because I saw early reviews saying this is the best Spider-Man movie, and I was like, I don't know. Like,
I know, everybody thought Spider-Man 2 was the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time.
It ended up being the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, this Spider-Man Homecoming, the best rendition of Peter Parker that we've ever seen, period. I'm sure Tobey Maguire's crying somewhere. Andrew Garfield is being British somewhere going, I could have done that if they let me. Yeah. But yeah, Tom Holland fucking nailed it.
Spider-Man.
And I think the biggest thing, I know you mentioned this on Monday, the movie was more about his life as a teenager than it was about being a superhero.
I mean, they focused, it was cool because I feel like they try to do that in the other movies where like it's like, oh, he has to deal with his life and being a superhero and stuff. But in those other movies, it was like, oh, I am so sad because
It's very melodramatic.
Yeah, and in this movie, he was just having fun being Spider-Man. I think that's the thing that really helps these comic book movies is like, it's fun being a superhero.
Right.
I think that's why the DC movies have such a problem because in the DC movies, it feels like you're miserable being a superhero.
This is being a superhero, serious business. Yeah. You have to be serious. You have to kill people. Yeah. You have to save the world. Saving the world is hard. Well, I dare say, being Spider-Man was Peter Parker's escape from the teenage responsibility. He wanted, it was like the epic story of everyone could relate to that because everyone is that teenager that wants to grow up. Yeah. Peter Parker wanted to grow up, be an Avenger. That to him, that was adulthood. Like everyone else, wants to drive, get a job, become an adult, go to college. Where like Peter was like, oh, I'm Spider-Man. I can be an Avenger. I helped the Avengers in Civil War. Yeah. So now I can be so people can relate to I want to grow up, but then spoilers, he realizes, oh, maybe I don't want to grow up that quickly. Yeah. Maybe it's not so bad. It's not that great being an adult.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that's the thing that was really cool about it too. Like, we talked about it on Monday that there was no direct mention of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
But you got the idea that something happened. Like
something is wrong. Something has happened. But, Aunt May, he's like, I can't do this to May. She's been through a lot. Yeah. It was very subtle. There was no radioactive spider. Yeah. There was no Uncle Ben. There was no wrestling match. There was no origin. There was no secret agent parents. Yeah. There's no
Osborn.
There was no Osborn. Yeah. There was no Norman Osborn. Yeah. All the things that have now become tropes. Yeah. Or stuff that like you expect from a Spider-Man movie. They literally threw them out, and they gave you Peter Parker in the suit being a jackass and having fun. Tony Stark trying to be his dad and being a bad dad. Yeah. The Captain America public service announcements, which are the best thing, and we just found out today.
Did you hear about that? Yeah, the Blu-ray?
On the Blu-ray, yeah. I posted that on the Dre's Deep Philosophy page. The Blu-ray's going to have more of those PSAs. I guess they had Chris Evans in a suit for a whole day. Like, hey, read all this. This is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
So you got detention.
that was one of the coolest cameos, man. He just kept on popping up.
Because they show them in the trailer. You see, they're doing the President's Challenge, or the Captain America Challenge. They got the Fitness Challenge, and it's like the old President's Challenge back in the day. But throughout the movie, you keep seeing Cap pop up, and it's freaking great. Yeah. It's amazing.
See, I'm really looking forward because now you think about it, the next one is going to be post Avengers Infinity War, which Spidey's in.
Spidey is going to be in the Infinity War movie. Yes.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be like it's going to be the Iron Man 3 of how's he going to react to all that? Like what's going to happen?
Like he will actually be an Avenger in Infinity War. Gosh, that's just next year.
That's next May, yeah.
Next May. Jeez, I can't even deal with this. We still got Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. We still got Black Panther, which we saw the trailer on the big screen. Yeah. I'd seen the trailer on my phone, but when we saw Homecoming, we got to see the trailer on the big screen. Holy shit, that was like it. It seems like it's on a whole different level. Yeah. And that's why I like these Marvel movies where they are kind of they feel different from the other ones. That's where Spider-Man Homecoming felt very different from your other two. Like it still had the Marvel elements. Oh yeah. Like the biggest compliment I heard is they worked in a lot of the shared universe, but it wasn't ham-handed. Yeah. It wasn't shoved in your face. Yeah. Like oh look, everything's connected. Like what poor Joss Whedon had to deal with in Age of Ultron. Yeah. Where we have to force in all these things. We have to force in there's force Thor looking into the future. We have to go to Wakanda. We have to do all this stuff and everything's kind of there's a bigger universe out there. Where this time it was oh, Peter's walking through this universe and you notice everything around him. And it's oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like in the classroom, the history teacher, we're going to talk about Sokovia.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of crazy that they're actually, already talking about that in school. Right? I mean, it's a big deal, I guess.
It's a big deal. I mean, I guess time lapses very differently. Yeah. Obviously, before the movie, that was Civil War. We don't know how much time is, because, again, in the beginning of the movie, spoilers.
We see the recap.
The recap, but then he's texting, he's contacting Happy. He's hey, let me get it. So we don't know how many months have passed. Yeah, they're already talking about it in school. The Sokovia Accords, something from the Civil War movie already affecting this movie. So like I said, instead of it having been enforced on you, it was just there, and it existed around Peter Parker story, which I thought was awesome.
Oh yeah, and then they get boggled down by we mentioned Civil War, but it was just like, all right, that happened. Let's move on to
And another great thing we did mention on Monday, that the movie was not about saving the world.
Yeah,
it was just a battle between Spider-Man and arguably one of the best Marvel Universe villains right now, the Vulture.
Yeah,
Michael Keaton nailed it. He created an awesome character that's based in whatever superhero reality.
Because I think we talked about this early on. Was like the Vulture's never been this cool, man.
No, never.
He's always had that interesting concept where he was just always about like trying to make money for his family, and he was just trying to like, I just didn't make this much and I'm done. Mm-hmm. And then Spider-Man would come, get in his way.
Get in his way with his big old collar and his wings.
But they really fleshed him out in this. They really like the metaphor of he was picking up the scraps from technology.
Yep.
It just was such a cool concept.
It's so great. We cannot recommend this movie.
No.
It is the Vulture, just like his performance.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where his character's Michael Keaton's character, the Vulture, is talking to Peter Parker, and it's an amazing freaking scene.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into spoiler territory. There's an amazing scene where just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Shit is real. Like there's great twists and turns throughout the film. Anything else you want to add about Spider-Man Homecoming? Something like I know I might be stepping on you a little bit here. I'm like with my enthusiasm.
No, it was a really great movie, man. It's one of those movies that you could take a kid. It's a lot of fun, and I think that's what was missing from the Spider-Man movies, that they weren't.
Yeah, they weren't fun.
Yeah.
I rewatched 1 and 2. They were not fun. There was no fun being had, so to speak.
Because thinking back, they were colorful.
Most definitely. Yeah. Because like you mentioned, that was the first time they actually used a superhero's actual costume.
Yeah.
Or in the other movies prior to that, like X-Men or Blade, they kind of like leathered everybody out. Everyone's in leather.
Make it modern.
And they make it cool, because in the late 90s, you gotta put your heroes in leather because they gotta look cool.
But see, I was talking about how when my sister was little, she was like 2 or 3 years old, and I would put those Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies on, the first two, and she'd just be into it. I think it was just the colors, man. It was just like,
it was bright and crazy. You got the big old Green Goblin who was like solid, crazy green. You got Spider-Man swinging around, so I'm sure it was very mesmerizing. Those movies were wildly successful, which led to the terrible Spider-Man 3, which we'll get that.
But yeah, man, it's a great Spider-Man movie.
Great Spider-Man movie, highest recommendation possible.
Yeah, I can't wait.
From both of us here.
Can't wait to see what he does in Infinity War.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll probably steal the show because I feel like that's what he did in Civil War.
Yeah.
He literally stole the show with all his little quippy one-liners.
Yeah.
But so I think that's our show. We've been going on. So pick of the week.
I think it has to be. If we're going
Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man and the casting, I think, because the casting it's an intense read, man. Mm-hmm. It's a little confusing, but I think it's setting something up pretty big.
Something big. So our DC pick of the week is the casting, more of the prelude to metal.
Yeah.
You cannot defy the metal. Now just the 10 Inches D song is stuck in my head now. The metal! And then, of course, Pete's Marvel pick is Spider-Man 2. Lots of good stuff in here. So, for myself, Dre Cervantes, for the main man, the owner of Nostalgia Comics, Pete Malini, be sure to come down, come to the store. You can order stuff through him. Go through the website. Go through. I've linked his store onto this video. Yep. Just click on that, and that takes you to his store through the Facebook link. You can reach him through there. If you want any books, Pete will be more than happy to help you.
We got books.
We got books. There are books here. On the other side of this camera, there's a wall of comics that are here in San Gabriel, California. If you're not anywhere near San Gabriel, California, hit a man up on the internet. Yeah. He will. I will go to the post office for him. He will hand it to me. I will be the courier. I will be the Uber driver and pick that package up and take it to the post office, and we will get it to you if you need your comic book fix. So I'm Dre. That's Pete Malini. I'm gonna come around and stop the Facebook video. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to share this video with any of your friends, anyone else who would be interested in comic books. So thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.